Okay. Hopefully everything works. It's been a while. A lot of shit's been going on in my life, so apologies for not being around. Hope everyone's been doing well. Like I said, been a while. Hey, Sten, how are you? Sorry for not doing a stream Monday and Wednesday, or last Saturday. No, I don't even think I did a stream last Saturday. I can't remember or not. Where to start? Because shit's just been going downhill. Chris is getting closer and closer to being punched, the shit beat out of him by Ricky and I and Josh. Just a lot of drama at work. Most of the drama, though, has been around me. Just the same old, being lazy, not like, because we're coming to a point, and you live in New England, Sten, so you know, like, how the weather's been. Working in, like, 95-degree weather with, like, an 87 to 90% humidity level while hauling trees out of, like, a tree line and, like, trimming branches over pools and stuff like that while mowing and weed whacking and doing all that. It really is a make it or break it when it comes to the work crew. Same thing happens on the boat. And so we're kind of just getting fed up with him because we're doing, like, we'll be sent on a 4-man job, but it's 3 men doing the work of 4 men because Chris will just wander off or just stare vacantly at what we're doing and watch us while we work. For example, yesterday. So yesterday was kind of weird. Kent, one of the I call him the co-founder because technically he is. It was just him and Donald when the business first started. Kent didn't have any work for sweeping because that's what he does. He sweeps. So Donald sent him to the city with my father in Orlando and told them, at this place for like 3-4 hours. You're going to probably get out by 10 o'clock. All you have to do is clear all the tree branches like 3-4 feet above the ground. Get the branches off around the pool off so like leaves and pine needles and shit won't fall into the pool and ruin the lining and shit. And then just trim all the tree branches that are hanging over the fence because they're pretty much touching the sidewalk. Okay. Me, Josh, Chris, and Ricky get sent off to do mowing. I get dropped off at an ice cream shop, Donald's sister's place. And as soon as I get dropped off, Josh has to go back to the shop because Kent's like, this ain't gonna be a 3-hour job. I need a pole saw. I need a pole saw, a step ladder. I need a new chainsaw because the chainsaw Donald told me to take, the bar is bent, so the chain keeps falling off, and it just won't run properly. Like, he'd be able to get the chainsaw running for probably 30 seconds, chain fall off. Then when he puts the chain back onto the bar, Rhett turns it, starts it back up, starts doing it 30 seconds again. He's like, fuck this. So he drove. He just waited for Josh because Josh was driving the 1-ton. Also, Chris was supposed to go with Ken, Orlando, and my father, and he just watched them drive off. And Josh kept yelling at him, "No, jackass, you're going into that fucking truck to go with them. You're not coming with us. We already have 4 guys," because Haitian was supposed to get dropped off in the park to mow. And you can barely fit 4 people in the cab. There's no way we can fit 5. The crew cab can seat 6 people comfortably, 4 in the back, 2 in the front. There's only 3 guys in there. Chris, you're going with them. Nope, he decides to just sit with us. So me, Ricky, Josh, and Chris were crammed into the fucking cab. And I told Haitian, you're going to have to sit in the back of the bed of the truck with the mowers. Like, there's no way we're going to be able to drop you off because we have to drive past the park to get to the ice cream shop that I have to mow. And Josh has already said he's leaving me there. Plus, Josh has to come all the way back anyways to pick up another mower because he's dropping off you with the mower and me with the mower, which means he's going to need to grab his mower. So we dropped Haitian off. Chris just stands there and he goes, "Are we doing the park?" "No, Jack." That was when I finally snapped. I was like, "No, jackass. We're not doing the fucking park. You should have heard Donald say it. Haitian's doing the fucking park. You were supposed to go with Orlando, Kent, and my father to fucking help them with the tree job." "Oh, yeah. Oh, why do you think me, Josh, Ricky, and Haitian aren't in the fucking mood to hear you fucking saying stupid shit?" "I was just asking a question." "Yeah, a stupid fucking question. It's only 7:05. We started at 7 today. Hasn't even been 5 minutes, Chris, and you're already asking a question that you've already asked twice. Josh told you to get into the fucking crew cab while it's driving off. He was yelling at Orlando to stop so that you could get in, but you just stood there and watched it drive away. You didn't even try and stop it. Didn't even try and flag it down. Just get back in the crew. Just get back in the cab, Chris. I'm not in the mood." We get the fucking Haitian offloaded off the trailer. We throw the fucking ramps back up, close the trailer. We're off to Ann's, the ice cream shop. I get dropped off. I grab the weed whacker. I grab a barrel. I take my mower off the fucking trailer, and Josh is just like, "Call me when you're done." Boss. I got done around 8:40, and the reason why it took me like an hour and a half to do all of it was because I had to flip picnic tables onto their sides so I could make a pass. And then once I did a few passes as close as I could to the fucking table standing on their side, I would then have to lock up the fucking brakes on the mower, flip every single table down, and flip them up the opposite way. And I also had to take out the stakes and the umbrella poles and 20 of the fucking tables. So most of my time was spent flipping these fucking things over. So I finished around 8:40. I call Josh. Does not pick up. Call him a second time. Does not pick up. So I call my father. My father's like, "Oh, Josh is here with Chris and Ricky," because they had to grab the pole saw and the ladder, and Kent called him a second time and said, "Hey, bring a weed whacker just in case." So they had to stop at the shop. I was like, "Well, tell him I'm done, and I've been done for a while." 20 minutes go by. Josh calls me. "We're going to have you picked up, put the mower behind the cooler shack, or the ice shack, where she keeps all her ice cream and stuff. Put it behind there with the bag. We're taking you, the weed whacker, and the barrel you have, and we're going to drop you off here with Kent. Because we got to get this done, and we have to swap. Because Kent's going to need the 1-ton. I'm going to take the crew cab." Okay. Another 20 minutes go by. Josh calls me again. "Yeah, Kent's going instead of me. Load some tree branches and brush that we've already cleared out of here in the 1-ton. So he's just going to go there, drop it off. He's got Ricky with him. They're going to stop by. You can throw everything onto the truck." Okay. An hour after I finished work at this ice cream shop was when I was finally picked up. I drive to the fucking place. All I hear is Ricky complaining about what Chris has done in the last hours of work. He's just standing there watching. Standing there watching everybody fucking do work. And Kent was like, "I'm not even in the mood to have this asshole working with us." So we finally get there. This job is not going to be a 3-hour job. There's like there's probably 15 trees, and the neighbors, for whatever fucking reason, decide, hey, there's a lot of undergrowth here. We're just going to take all our tree clippings and plant clippings and stuff. We're just going to dump it over the fence. So there's like 1.5 to 2 feet worth of like dried, rotten wood and straw and weeds and just moldy plant material, just all kind, just old brush, just chilling out. And there's a lot of branches that need to be cut. I get there. Chris is sitting down on the old lady's picnic table eating his lunch. It's not even 10 o'clock yet. And from what Ricky told me, which made me even more pissed off at that yesterday over Chris, was they went to the place where the bamboo is, where I talked about the Agent Orange we used. The owner of that place now wants us to push the entire tree line and bamboo line 3 feet. 3 feet back. So Josh and Chris went there with Ricky. And from what Ricky told me, around 10 o'clock that day, because they were there all day, Chris walks up to Josh and goes, Josh, have you seen my sandwich? No, why? It's not even lunchtime yet. I can't find my sandwich. It's not in my lunchbox. Do you know where it is? Like Ricky's first response was, did you eat it? No, I didn't eat it. Well, then you probably didn't. Josh says, well, you probably just didn't pack a sandwich then today. You probably forgot. Sandwich. Well, you didn't that day because I remember him coming into work because he just sat right next to me with his lunchbox while Ricky loaded the whole truck because I wasn't going with them. Donald just told me, wait here. Wait right here. You're not going with Josh today. You're going to be helping other people today. All right. He did not have a lunch. He did not pack a sandwich. He complained so much that Josh, out of the kindness of his heart, gave him his sandwich for lunch to Chris. And Chris proceeded to sit in the truck and eat it. After Josh told him, wait a couple hours, then you can eat the sandwich. So after hearing that, and then coming to the work site and seeing him eating a sandwich, just pissed me off. And he just sat there on the picnic table watching me and my father and Kent and Josh and Ricky. Every other fucker on that site was hauling tree limbs out of the fucking brush, throwing it into the back of the 1-ton. He just watched. Finally, Donald calls up Josh, says, hey, how's the place look? Josh is like, well, it ain't going to be 3 hours. He's like, all right. Take Ricky and whoever you want with you. Take whoever you want with you and start mowing. So, There we go. Much better. So Josh decides, I'm leaving Darth here with you, Kent. Because if I leave Chris here, somebody's going to sock him in the face. And I know my grandfather's going to get pissed off at me that I left Chris here with you. Kent's like, well, who you leave? You're leaving Darth here? And Josh is like, yep. He's like, all right. Now, we had just loaded the whole we had topped off that 1 ton. Ken's like, Darth, come with me. We got to go back to the shop to dump this. All right. And that was the same time, and there was an agreement. When Kent and I were leaving with the load, that's when Josh, Ricky, and Chris would leave. So we all parted ways while my father and Orlando were still clearing out the fucking brush and shit. On the ride, Kent just turns to me and says, you know, I hate saying this, but I'm glad you're the one Josh dumped instead of Chris. And I laughed and I was like, well, he at least had the decency to dump somebody that would actually do the work. And Kent just laughed. Like, when I got there, they had only dropped off 1 load in the time that I was mowing. The entire day, just me, Kent, and my father, because Orlando had to leave. I think it was six 1-ton beds full of brush. And that wasn't even everything. That wasn't even everything. Sorry, I had to respond to my friend. From what my father told me, because I didn't go into work today, and that's because of another whole fucking just depression, essentially depression, kind of finally flared up a little bit. So I wasn't mentally, I was physically capable of working. Mentally, though, I was not. I'd just be scatterbrained. Like, give me a second. But yeah, basically mentally, I would not be able to cope and work at full capacity. I stayed home. I slept in. Josh called me like 8 fucking times. My father called me a handful of times. He texted me being like, if you need to start work, like, I don't know. Like my father will tell me all kinds of shit, and I can't fucking believe half the shit he says, because half the shit just does not make sense, and half the shit just sounds made up. Apparently, Josh values me and considers me his best worker. And Kent says the same thing. I'm one of the hardest and best workers that Donald's had in years. That's what my father says that they tell him. And so today kind of cemented that a little, I guess. I don't know. I kind of don't believe my father when he was saying it. But like, he texted me at like 10 in the morning and I was still asleep. because I just would wake up, see what time it was, go back to sleep, rinse and repeat. My father apparently texted me and said, because Donald's doing a trailer run. He's driving a fucking freight truck down to Baltimore, and he's picking up a load of pipe, and he's bringing it back up here to the New England. So Scott's running it for now until I think tonight or Saturday morning. I forget when. But my father texts me, and he's like, Scott will give you a ride if you call the shop right now. And then my father texted me, he's like, Scott does not care if you come in late for work. Like, he wants you to work for him. He needs you to come in. And I just went right back to sleep. And so my father finally called me, and he's like, what the fuck happened? And I was just like, I just feel depressed. My father calls me, and Scott will give me a ride. One of the older guys, his name's Joe. He works in the garage. He doesn't technically work there. He just hangs out because he's friends with Scott and Donald and all of us. So he just hangs out. He helps Scott because he used to be a mechanic, and he's a Vietnam vet. I believe he operated. I think he was an engineer in the Army. Around, if they need parts, he'll drive down into the city and grab the parts they need and drive back and give them to Scott. Apparently Scott was willing to have Joe drive all the way down to where I live to pick my ass up at any time. And he even told, apparently, because this is all hearsay, this is what my father was telling me, Scott told him, tell your son where you're working today, so when he comes, I can write him down. Just tell me what time he got there, and I'll write him down for whatever time you guys usually start. Started like 12, he was going to write me down for starting at 7 or 6, depending on what time they started today, because I don't know. And so my father was sitting there and telling me, like, oh, Josh is worried about you. He was asking me when he was dropping me off at the store to grab some, like, is Darth all right? Is everything okay? But so, like, my father apparently is telling me, like, Josh is worried about me. Apparently Ricky was asking where I was. Kent asked me where I was before he went to the Cape to sweep. And Scott was like, "Oh, I'll put him on, but that, like, if he's awake or if he's okay and he's able to work and he needs a ride, I'll gladly send him down a ride." It's like, nope, not today, folks. Not in the mood to work. So I'm going to work tomorrow. I gotta mow the park. It's supposed to be hot as fuck tomorrow too. But you know, Always with the fucking messages. Yeah, apparently Josh and Ricky mowed the park, what was left of the sides. Islands were, I'm guessing we're doing that tomorrow. Like, get your ass down here. Get your ass down here so, you know, you can help me at the park tomorrow mowing the fucking, in the islands. And it's like, oh, fucking great. So there's that. They finished up the fucking place that we were working at yesterday. Apparently they filled up 3 fucking beds of the 1-ton with all the brush that we didn't grab. Let's see. George A. Romero passed away at age 70. I believe it was Monday. That's fucking great. That's just great. George died. Fucking Chester Bennington died yesterday. He died either Wednesday or yesterday from a hanging. Suicide. That's just lovely. Like I've been seeing a lot of bizarre arguments about Chester Bennington on Facebook, on Twitter, YouTube, Tumblr, practically almost every site I'm on. I've been seeing a lot of arguments on it, and that's basically people nonchalantly just not caring as much, I guess. Like there's a lot of people I know that are like, I don't fucking care who you are, you should feel bad that like Chester Bennington's died because he was the lead singer of Linkin Park and he's like the voice of our generation for all of our angst. And it's like, yeah, I remember listening to like the first 2-3 albums of Linkin Park when I was a kid and hearing this, like their most popular songs from those albums on the radio, but I kind of just forgot about Linkin Park. Like there's a lot, like I like the Killers. I do. Haven't heard a fucking thing about them in years. Franz Ferdinand, same thing. I don't hear a lot of people talk about either of those bands. Heard a single friend of mine for like the last decade and a half talk about fucking Linkin Park. Same with Green Day, for God's sakes. I haven't heard anything about Green Day since like the early 2000s during the first Bush administration. Like, so when people are like, oh, well, that sucks, and they're not like crying tears of blood because of how badly they're going to miss him, like I don't see. Yeah, well, yeah, like they're still doing stuff, but it's like so low key and under the radar. Like they don't. I don't even know when the last time they released an album. That's how low key they are now. Of Linkin Park fans and a lot of people who are upset of like Chester Bennington's death that are like, you should be sadder than this. And it's like, I'm sad, sure. A musical genius and a fucking artist just died. That's one less bright star on the planet. But like, I wasn't fanatically a fan of his. He wasn't an idol to me. Like, David Bowie was an idol and a fucking inspiration to generations. His death is a fucking black mark on society and culture. But like when it comes to like Chester Bennington, like for me, it's apples and oranges. Like, yeah, I feel bad that like he couldn't find the help that he needed because he was best friends with Chris Cornell, and apparently yesterday was Chris Cornell's birthday. From what people are theorizing in news articles and stuff, was that Chester Bennington just couldn't cope with the loss of his best friend, Chris Cornell, and so he took his life. Understandably so. Like, the grief was too much. I understand that. But he left behind, like, a wife and 6 kids? And it's like, did he even try to find help? Did he try and reach out to somebody and be like, hey, I'm suicidally depressed? Like, he had a history of drug abuse. Like, what's going on with that? Like, is there any news on that? And to the people who keep saying mourning his loss aren't fucking mourning him hard enough, it's like, fuck you. Same thing with George A. Romero. Nobody on my fucking friends list really knew who the fuck George A. Romero was. Also, Sten, if you've ever heard the song Take Me Out, that's Franz Ferdinand. And if you've ever heard Somebody Told Me, like you had a boyfriend that looked like a girlfriend, that's the Killers. I would consider I know this is going to be an unpopular opinion for a lot of people that may listen to this. The Killers, at the time when they were like really big and they had momentum, like I thought they were going to be the next Queen, because a lot of their music and themes and style just exuded Queen for me. Like I forget the lead singer's name because it's been so long since I've listened to him. He looks very similar to he looks like a very young Freddie Mercury. Just remove the mustache and the front teeth. He just, for some reason, I felt like this is my generation's Queen. If they keep going on the way they are and they keep fucking throwing out like these amazing songs and albums and just keep fucking hitting that level constantly, they're going to be fucking considered the next Queen. And then they kind of just nosedived, and so they just kind of fade into obscurity. Same thing with Franz Ferdinand. I bought their, I think, first 2 albums, and then they just faded out. Which sucks. Because a lot of their songs were pretty fucking good. Same with Modest Mouse. That's another band that nobody fucking remembers. Float On is like their only song that I've ever heard anybody be like, oh, I love Modest Mouse. Float On is a song that Modest Mouse did. Really trippy music video. It's like storybook cutouts in the background while he's singing stuff. It's just a weird song. Great beat though. But yeah, like with George A. Romero's death, nobody knew until I was like, rest in peace, the creator of one of the greatest zombie trilogies of all time. One person honestly thought that he was the creator behind The Walking Dead. And I'm like, no, you idiot. He created Night of the Living Dead, Dawn of the Dead, and Day of the Dead. Yep. They actually thought he directed or created The Walking Dead. They're like, ain't he that zombie guy that did The Walking Dead? And it's like, no, jackass. No. There's inspirations from Romero in it, but it's not Romero. And I have to say, I would say George A. Romero's early movies were the greatest. Everything later on was just kind of meh. Like, I understand the man was a talented director and artist and strove for a lot of social, societal in his zombie movies. And I know that he's passed away at the ripe old age of 70, but I'm still going to say the same thing I've always said. Land of the Dead sucked. Diary of the Dead was meh. Everything else after Diary of the Dead was just bad. Just sucks. Un Memento. It's probably just me spacing out, Sten, because I'm just scatterbrained. I'm stressed out, tired, depressed. Just in a give no fucks kind of mood right now. I'm basically in asshole mode. Also eating. Just to show you, I am so out of it, and I'm just so sick of things right now because the last week or so. I wouldn't even say that's a Hangout issue. I would say that's a YouTube issue because I was having that problem today. The videos I was watching were SCP containment videos. 5 minutes, and then it stopped, and it just continuously load. And lagging out, or just go right into a loading cycle. And so I'd have, like, no matter, even if my internet was fine, I could go onto any other website I wanted. I could go onto YouTube in another tab. The visual settings from like to like 240p or 144p, like that didn't help it load, because sometimes that helps. Like, oh, it's stuck in a loading cycle. Change the res would change, and then it'd start loading, and I'd be like, oh, hey, awesome. No, it wasn't working like that. I would have to manually refresh the whole tab and just go right to where I watching, and then it'd do the same thing again, like 4 or 5 minutes of the video, and So something with YouTube, because I know they've updated the loader. Like the loading thing doesn't look like circles anymore. It's like an actual circular line, 7 or 8 dots with a red one going through each one. With a passion, hit a buffering wall. I wouldn't know, especially if I wasn't paying attention. And I'd be like, is it my computer lagging? Because like the video would start lagging, and so when I look at the video, out. I don't know if it's Firefox that's fucking up, my computer's fucking up, or YouTube's fucking up. And then I'd look and I'd be like, well, what the fuck's going on with it? Like, fucking Firefox isn't like not responding. It's working just fine. And then I'd finally notice, oh, it's fucking buffering. Like that buffering, like the buffering icon on a YouTube video is so fucking opaque. See it on some videos, especially if the video is bright and has color to it. Have fun trying to pay attention to it. But yeah, I'm just so not in the I ordered my subs from D'Angelo's, and I've a whole one. I've eaten like fucking 3 by the time I'm on the stream, and I'm finishing off my 4th or 6th, depending on the. Can't even finish this one. And that's just sad, because I usually eat a lot. Yeah, I'm dealing with fucking trouble in paradise, too. Because that's always... That's making me feel like shit. And it's not shit as in like, oh, I've been hurt me. It's more of a, I'm a fucking idiot for falling for it, hook, line, and sinker. Yeah. Give me a second. My friend Molly just... I gotta move this stuff out of the way. I don't even think I can finish the 8th. Yeah. Basically, what happens then is this. So we spent the night together. We hung out like the day after, and that was it. Like we've been talking fairly frequently. And it's just been a cock tease. That's basically what it's been. It's been a fucking cock tease. She'll say she wants to hang out. I'll ask her if she wants to hang out, and she'll say yes, and then get blown off. Same old, same old. And then she's essentially lied. She essentially lied to me about a lot of things that she didn't need to lie about. And I called her out for being inconsistent. She got pissed off, and she's like, okay, please leave me alone. And that was this morning, because I called her out on being inconsistent, because she has said one thing and then contradicted herself later on. And some context has been added recently, which has made a lot of what she said to me a few weeks back and a month or two back more insane, more worrisome. Raises the issue of a trust problem. Like, got bad. And like, we had a little spat last night, and even then, I was like, "Hey, you want to go out to breakfast today?" Like earlier in the morning, because I wanted to like try, like a normal human fucking being, an adult, sit down with somebody, talk things out, smooth things over, work things out like an adult, face to face, man to man. That's how you like. It's but that's the thing, Stan. It's so insane to me. Just her that has this problem. Everybody I know in the real world has the same problem. They do not want to talk in person. Like me and my friend Molly, we've been like her father. Like her father was my father's friend, and she's been close friends with me for years, and she's been saying the same things that you just said. And I had to sit on a 2-hour call with my father earlier because he asked if it was because of her. And it's like, I was like, yeah, well, and Molly was asking, she's like, do you need to talk about it? Are you all right? And I'm like, well, do you want to hang out sometime so we can talk in person about it? Because I'd rather talk about it in person than just typing it like constantly. And she's like, well, how about next week? And I don't know when next week she'll be available. So, oh, that's fine, Stan. Facebook, anyways. I'm on Facebook. There we go. It's been shared to your timeline. Thanks. Took you long enough. Oh, hey. That's a sexy rifle. Custom Midwest MLOK SBR. Not really a fan of those stocks or the sights. I'd rather go for an optic instead of just fucking iron sights. But hey. Huh. That's interesting. Back then. Like I said, I'm just zoning out. I might even get drunk tonight and just go into work with a massive hangover. But yeah. I'm tired of this societal change where people are more safe talking it out impersonally on a fucking computer or over a text than meeting up in person and talking it out. Like, that's what I was doing with her. That's what I was doing with her. We had a spat. We had a disagreement. There was a lot of shit a lot of questions were raised. I want to ask questions. I don't want to ask questions on a fucking phone. I don't want to text you a million fucking questions. I want to meet you in person, sit down, and come to an understanding. What's so fucking hard with that? Hard about meeting somebody. And she's been talking about, oh, well, I want to hang out with you, and oh, I've never been here, or I've never been to this restaurant, and oh, that sounds fun. If you honestly fucking mean that, then try and take fucking time out of your busy schedule to do it. And I know there's going to be people sitting on here going, oh, well, she's working 40 hours a week and blah, blah, blah. She works fucking Sunday through Saturday. Whole week she's busy. Yep, she's busy the whole fucking week. And guess what? I'm busy the whole fucking week. I manage to fucking find time. I manage every single fucking time in the last, like, so it was the 25th when we checked up. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, it's been almost 4 weeks. It's been almost 4 fucking weeks. In that time, she has told me consistently that she wants to hang out, or she's agreed to hang out on a certain date, on a certain day of the week. Certain day of the week. She was even asking me when I was going to an interview for an apartment, oh, do you need a roommate? Sorry, if you have a second bedroom, can I move in as a roommate? And then like a week later, she's like, oh, well, I don't think living in the same place with your significant other can work out. I'm not that kind of person. I don't think I can stay, like, it'd just be complicated and blah, 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 blah. Yes. Like, you do know, you just told me a week ago that you wanted to move in with me on a 2-bedroom apartment. And now you're telling me when I state you're moving a little too fast once. It's only been a couple of weeks. We haven't even hung out or gone since shacking up. Kind of think you're moving a little too fast. And I was saying it jokingly. She's like, well, I don't think I'd be able to. And I'm like, oh, so now I'm a significant other? And she's like, oh, well, and then she got all shy and awkward, which is what she fucking does. It's like, if you really honestly mean to hang out with me, you'd hang out with me. That's just it. That's just it. If you honestly want to hang out and you honestly want to do it, do it. I want to hang out with you. I've taken time out of my busy schedule. Hell, there's been times where I've been at the shop and I've told Donald, I ain't fucking coming in tomorrow. I have plans. And I just haven't gone in. And she's blown me off. Done it, though. I've done it, though. I've made time. I've even told her we'll do it on after you got to work. After you got to work on this day or that day or this day or that day. Just keeps blowing me off. And yeah, she is all over the place. And yet, apparently, I'm the inconsistent one. I'm the inconsistent one, Sten. Me. I'm the inconsistent one. You know, messaging her in the morning, wishing her a good morning, and hoping she's sleeping well because she has sleeping problems. Me talking to her throughout the day if she texts me back. You know, me asking her how work's going, if she needs a coffee, if she's tired, talking about random shit. Hey, you available for this day? You available for this day? And if she's like, yeah, I'm totally available for this day, I'll be like, are you sure you're available for this day? There's no race, no other plans you've had going on, nothing like that. She's like, no, nothing. I'm free this day. And I'm like, all right. And the next day, same thing, rinse and repeat. Wish her a good morning, ask her if she slept well, go back to working. If she messaged me again, fucking talk to her while I'm doing my work. Honestly, from what I feel, Sten, and the way my father feels and everybody else feels, she regrets it. Because apparently one of my friends said that on her Twitter, she wrote, and I quote, I know what I was feeling, but what was I thinking? Exactly. Here's the insane thing. Here's the insane thing about that. Her whole, oh, well, if we slept together, like, it changed the dynamic and it'd be really weird. It's not really weird. It's not. We were arguing about brackish water one time, and then we were arguing like not even having like full hardcore like actual debates and arguments. It was just more playful banter. Is like her going, I think brackish water is saltier than seawater, and me going, no, it's saltier than fresh water, but it's not saltier than seawater. It's in between. Like, that's it. Like, and we've just been playfully texting each other, flirting. Like, nothing really has changed. Like every other fucking time we've talked in like the last fucking 8-9 fucking years. Nothing's really changed. But it's like, oh, like with her, it's like, oh no, we had sex. Uh-oh. Even though I told him I had actually cheated on 2 different guys. I was sleeping with one guy. I was sleeping with 2 guys at the same time, and they knew about it. Oh no, I had sex with him. It's weird now. Like, she's the only one acting weird on this. She's the only one that she's the only one out of the 2 of us that's acting weird. If anything, the weirdest thing is me. Hey, do you want to hang out? You available next week? Or are you available at the end of the week? Like right around the weekend? You available? You want to go see a movie? Or you want to go get something to eat? You want to get a coffee? Because, you know, that's weird. That's weird. Saying, hey, you want to hang out? Like, we've been fucking talking about for God knows how fucking many months this year. And so I honestly think it was just a booty call. That's what I think it was. I think it was just a booty call. Stand. That's all I think it was. That's the only thing that makes sense. Off and annoyed and irritated in the debacle that is that situation. Well, I stupidly fucking fell for it, hook, line, and fucking is the truth. Her response, like, your story is inconsistent. Like, kind of suspicious. Exactly. Exactly, Stan. That's it. Like, I told her that last night. I was like, what the fuck are we? What are you and I? I don't know. I don't know what we are. I'm like, well, I want to know what the fuck we are. Like, because I was going to ask if you wanted to fucking pick things up. We could pick things up and fucking start right where we were. We could do that. I get all my priorities straight, and my father even told me today on the phone, because he had to fucking lecture me because I'm a fucking idiot. Like, he kept trying to say, "Oh, you're not an idiot, Darth. You're not." In the ass because you followed your heart instead of your brain. You know you shouldn't have trusted her. And it's like, I don't know. She was a lot different than what she normally was. Give me a second. But like, I don't know. Like, my father was telling me, like, you're a nice. Like, I hate. It's the same speech I always get, and I fucking hate this speech. And I will state the paraphrased version of it because everybody has their own little flair to it. Oh, I name dropped myself. Oopsie. But it's like, Darth, you're a nice guy. Everybody around you thinks you're a nice guy. You're the nicest guy I know. All you do is you try to do the right thing. Yes, sometimes you'll stumble and sometimes you'll fuck up, but you're not a fuck up. You're not a constant fuck up. Like, you've got your head on your shoulders. You're working, you're trying to keep afloat, you're getting a place, you're doing this, you're doing that. You're doing everything you can possibly do, and you're doing it just as good as you can. And she doesn't know what she's missing out on. She's going to look back in a couple of years. She's going to regret everything. She's going to wish to take you back. She's going to wish that you'll just open up your arms and back to you, and that'll be it. She's going to regret everything she's said to you and done to you. And it's like, nope, that's not how the real world works. Also, you're wrong about me. Like, oh, I like the last fucking, like, you guys stopped talking. You've just gotten more and more straightforward, and like, just more cynical about like shit like that. And it's like, yeah, I'm more fucking cynical about it because I'm tired of fucking wasting my fucking time. I am. Like, what is the point of me opening up with? What's the point of me opening up with her and talking about all kinds of things just for her to do exactly what she's doing to me right now? Like, you know what I mean? And like, she'll sit there and say, I have trust issues. Why? Why do you have trust issues? What has caused you to have trust issues? Because 95% of your relationships have ended. You've cut, I don't even know how many guys she's dated. She's just cut them off. She's ghosted them. She posted an article about ghosting where you're dating somebody or you're interested in somebody and then you just stop, you just cut all ties with that person. Don't even say a fucking thing to them. That'd be like me talking to you, Stan, and then just me, not just after I finish the sentence, I just, disappear for 5 fucking years. And you never hear from me for 5 years. That's ghosting. And apparently she got bitched out on Facebook a couple times by a couple guys that she knew on Facebook. It's like, that's your fault. That's not their fault. You didn't trust them. Like, you didn't open yourself up to something deep, dark, and secret. No, you've always had trust issues. Even before all the other guys you've dated. Before you started talking to me, for God's sakes, you've had trust issues. And it's like, where are these trust issues? What don't you trust? Oh, I don't trust. There's nobody that I know that actually has depth to them. Everybody has depth. It's just, what kind of depth are you looking for? And she couldn't answer that. Like, seriously, who the fuck says, I want depth? And it's like, well, what kind of depth are you looking for? Because apparently most of the guys she talks to just want to fuck her. And then here's me over on the fucking the bench in the dugout being like, throw me in, coach. I can do it. I can hit that home run and finish this game. Well, that's the thing. Well, that's the thing I was talking to her about, Frank. I was like, yeah, there's some people that are just plain shallow, but most people have depth. It depends on how deep you want it. And she's like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, a homeless person has probably more depth than some people I know. Some people I know are just shallow. And not shallow isn't just like vain kind of people. I just mean depth-wise, they're just shallow. Because they're just an open book. And that book is just really short. Like my friend Sean. Matter of fact, I won't even bring up Sean. I'll bring up Chris from work. He's incredibly fucking. He has barely any depth. What does Chris have? He's rich. He's slow. I don't know what's wrong with him. He likes rap music. And he's a mama's boy. I know all of that not even by talking to him. It's just how he acts. That's depth. Because there's a lot you can talk about. Just on a few key topics that I just listed off, you can talk to him about. And you can learn more about him. God, that's depth. Oh no. Oh no. Hell, you could even make an argument that shallow people have depth because you can explore why they're shallow. Why are you this vain? And I told that to her. And she's like, yeah, well, I don't know what I'm looking for. And I'm like, all right, then. You just don't know what the fuck you're looking for. And you're just does not make a lick of sense. Because if you're looking for somebody with depth, you would have found that person with depth. And the other thing is, you kind of can't just say, I'm looking for depth, because you don't know how deep it goes. Because you just lose your attention on it. Look at me. She's talked to me for fucking years now, and she still doesn't know a lot about me. Six. She's never really asked me about anything. She never asked me about what happened to my mother. She never really asked me about, like, my grandfather in depth. Like, there's shit like shit like that, you know, when you're talking to somebody, when you're with somebody, I'm going to ask them questions like that because I want to know. I want to know more about this person. Why they are the way they are. Try and understand them. Because it's depth. Over her fucking head. Because she's inconsistent. One day she'll be asking me deep questions like that, and then the next she'll just be like, and just, that's it. That's the only thing I'll get. Sometimes she'll text me and she'll be all fucking flirty and goo goo gaga, fucking madly in love shit. And then the next time it's, oh, well, I'm going to be ice fucking cold like the land of always winter. Sometimes she'll be flirty and be like, oh, tee-hee, my parents are gone. So I get the whole house all to myself and I'm so alone. And then, like, the next day, it's like, hey, can I come over and touch that boob? And she'll be like, what? No, my parents are home. And it's like, you just told me yesterday they just left to go camping. So they just went camping for the night? Like, she didn't even tell me this week. She texted me Monday and said that her parents went camping again. Week to herself. At the house, by herself, the whole week. So last night I called her up and I was like, hey, I'm going to come over. I want to spend the night with you. She's like, I don't think my parents would like that very much. I'm like, well, they're camping, so they're not really going to fucking know. She's like, well, my brother's kind of a tattletale. I was like, yeah, I know. Times before. Like, yeah, he kind of is, but I'm sure, like, he's not going to be at the house the whole fucking night because he's probably going to go out. I don't think he's going to barge into your room. I'm pretty good at sneaking out of a house. She's like, no, my parents are home. I'm like, what? You said the whole week. You said they're coming, like, you didn't even specify when they're coming back. She's like, I told you Thursday. And I'm like, wait a minute. One, you never told me they were coming back Thursday. I asked you if I could come over sometime during the week since you'd be free, and you said, yeah, whatever day suits you because they're not coming back. I asked you Tuesday if Thursday would be good because I was getting my paycheck. I asked you Wednesday to confirm if Thursday would be good, and you said yes, it would because they wouldn't be home. And I asked you today if it was okay if I came over tonight because, you know, I want to touch that boob and I want to make sure that you're available for tonight. And she said yes. And like 4 hours went by, and now suddenly her parents are back. They've been back all day. Camping trip. And it's like, why the fuck did you not tell me this? I was getting all set up. Fuck, I got home last night. It was, oh God, fucking, I think I got home like around 8 last night. I got off of work. It was 5:45, 6 o'clock. Around that time I got done. And then I drove with my father and I got dropped off by Orlando on his way home at a restaurant in the South End. We ate there. That place was just awful. He hyped that fucking place up way too much for me. And Then we got a cab ride back. I got dropped off and threw my father some change for me going from us going from my place. So I threw him that difference, and then he took the cab back home. And I got home, texted her, said, "Hey, is everything okay?" And she's like, "Yep." And I'm like, "Well, let me get showered up and shave, and let me shave and shower up and get dressed," because I was still covered in my work gear. So I showered, fucking shaved, got all fucking fancied up, nice fucking kicks, nice pants, nice shirt. I got really nice dressed. I was nicely dressed last night, all ready to hang out with her, spend the night there. Oh, my parents are home. Why the fuck did you tell me okay when I was like, all right, I'm back home? You're still up to it, and you're like, okay. You say that. Why would you? Hell, she's been telling me for weeks now. I need to pick up my sweatshirt because she let me use her sweatshirt. Pick me up that Saturday. Okay. I've told her multiple times, you need to come over here and like you need to stop by and grab your shit. Like she's got her fucking and I had gotten her Swedish fish because you know I'm just that hopeless fucking romantic that's like, oh hey, I bought you some of your favorite candy because I know how much you love it. Because I was planning on taking her out on a date and giving it to her during the date before we left. Better than flowers. Better than flowers. But nah, like she, you know, even though it has like this emotional meaning to her because it was like her sweatshirt she got. At this point, Sten, I refuse to pay. Like it's just gonna stay here, and when I move out, I'm just gonna take it with me. And if she fucking if she actually wants the fucking thing, like she keeps trying to tell me that she's got a busy work schedule. It's 3 to 11 now. From Wednesday to Friday at her security job, then it's like 2 to 10 on the weekend, and then she works like from 10 to 2 at Waterwiz Mondays and Tuesdays. So it's like she has all the time in the world after work Monday and Tuesday to come and grab it, or even just come over and hang out with me. But she doesn't. She doesn't want to. So that's why I've been in a pissy, fucking aggravated, depressed mood recently. Because it's like I was just a booty call. I was just a booty call, and she regrets even fucking me. What a great romance, right? And I thought things were gonna actually look right for me on the end. I was like, oh, hey, everything's going to work out just fine. Like, we hung out. We're going to sit down. We're going to chit the chat. Get everything all sorted out. And then we'll work things out for doing the horizontal tango. That Christian side hug. Put it out. And then see if we can, what we're going to do from there. And like my father's telling me, like, this is the worst thing. Everybody and their fucking mother was telling me, like, oh, well, here's my advice on the whole situation. Here's my advice on the whole situation. And here's my advice on the whole situation. 300 different people's fucking opinions swirling around in my head like a fucking whirlpool. And I'm like, wow, this is really shitty. This is really shitty advice. This is not helping me. father was like, "Yep." After 4 days, after you two did the nasty, I just was like, "Yep." She just one night stand. That's it. Sorry, I know you're my son and all, but I just wanted to make you happy. I'm like, yeah, thanks. That's like me driving down a fucking an interstate, and you're like, this interstate's known to have just a massive cliff at the end of it. Oh, you know what? I'll just wait until he finally realizes it when he falls off the fucking thing. I'm like, thanks for not telling me. Telling me like, oh, you should, like she just doesn't sound right. And again, I always do with any fucking person I talk to, and everybody else is telling me they're a bad influence, or they're just bad, or you just should not talk to them. I make excuses. Granted, I was justified, especially that Saturday when she came to pick my ass up. Everybody kept telling me, "Oh, she's just gonna blow you off. Like it's pouring fucking rain. You're at the breakfast place. There's no way she's gonna pick you up and actually bring you back to your place." And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna have a little faith. I'm actually gonna believe her and saying that she's actually gonna pick me up. I'm gonna do it. And I was like, there you fucking go, assholes. And then I asked her if she'd like to spend the night together, and she's like, yeah, I don't see why not. And I was like, yeah, all right, awesome. And then like everybody's like, oh, she's not gonna do it. She's not gonna do it. And then she's like, you want me to bring wine over? Oh. And sure enough, she came and we hooked up. Like, so I felt justified in making excuses, like, because she's busy. Her only free day that she can actually hang out is either during the fucking day when I'm at work on a Tuesday night. So it's like, it's kind of hard to schedule around things because she only has Tuesday nights off. So everything she has to do for that week has to be done on that fucking day. And after a while, I've just come to go like, you know what, like it's just not making any fucking sense. Just not making a lick of fucking sense. Like, at a certain point, you just have to say, uh, like, it's just fucking annoying. Yeah, it does not look good. Does not look fucking well. Give me a second. And so, like, It's just annoying. Then I got my father making me feel like shit, because that's the weird thing. Smile about, even though uh uh okay, and that's to a certain person I'm typing to. uh okay, so my father my father's been telling me, like, you just have a horrible fucking track record of being with falling for people that aren't worth your time. He was telling me, like, you did everything right the last month. The last month or so, you've been doing everything right on your end. And he's like, I'm proud of you for doing that, because you've always been like that. Whether it's a friend or a girlfriend, you're always there for that person. You're always there for that person. You sacrificing for won't do the same. And so he was telling me, like, she's just not that kind of person. It's all about her. She does not care. When I've told her, like, my father is telling me this. She got offended, and I understand why she'd get offended, because the way she was acting and the way she was talking was completely different to what she used to be. Especially when like, after we hooked up, like, she was talking to me about hanging out and wanting to. Oh God. Fucking God. He just texted me, remember, you can do anything because you're that good. I love you with all my heart, Dad. Fucking Christ, George. It's like he has like a sixth sense when I talk to him. And it's like the entire fucking time. Yeah, he might have a bug in my room. And it's like the entire talk, he's like, "You're such a nice guy. You deserve better." Blah blah blah. And like I know he was trying to cheer me up. No, he was trying to cheer me up, and I get that. I totally get that he was trying to cheer me up. I do. I totally do. I get it. And I understand you're trying to make me feel all fine and kind and whatnot. But when you're sitting there telling me, like, yeah, like, you totally fucked up with hooking up with her because all she does is just fucking drag you down and all. It's like, wow, George, thanks for making me feel like I'm a fucking, like, an even bigger idiot for fucking actually thinking things would have changed. I'm gonna say that, but kind of, yeah. I'm like, thanks for the pseudo fatherly advice. Well, okay, so here's the weird thing, Frank. My father actually has been in the same situation. When he was 25 when he met my mother, and she was 18, and he had no interest in her. She was actually a blind date, and at the time, his best friend and his boss, Paul, because he was a sandblaster before he was a fisherman, he had just died of a heart attack. So my father was essentially running the company. So my father was working nonstop every day for like 16 hours. He was working from like 4 in the morning until like, oh Christ, like 10 at night, sandblasting houses and interiors of buildings and stuff. He was working himself to death, but he was used to that kind of work. My father's always had that old baby boomer kind of work mentality where you work all day. You work all day. Plus, he was raised on a farm at a young age, so he has that mentality. I have that same mentality where I work, and I'm just going to keep working. Personal life kind of starts, like, my personal life kind of is more important to me than my father's with his mentality. So, like, I try to balance both aspects of my life. From I work the hours I'm supposed to work, but if I have nothing planned for that day, I'll work overtime. I'll work a few extra hours to make a little extra money. But if it's like on a Wednesday or a Saturday or or like if I have a date, or if I've set up a date with her and we're supposed to hang out at like 5 p.m., 6 p.m. that night, I'll only work until like 3, 4 o'clock. And I'm like, I'm done for the day. And Dawn will be like, all right, because most of the guys stop work around 3, 4 o'clock. The shop closes at 5. But there's been times where I've worked till 8. And I've just knocked on the door at Scott's, because Scott lives right there next at the shop, knocked on the door and said, hey, Scott, just like, here's a note. Here's what time I just got done. I put everything away. Like, I'm done for the day. And he'll be like, all right, I'll tell my father when he comes in tomorrow. And that's it. But I try to balance work and my personal life, because I've learned from my father's past mistakes, because one of his girlfriends years ago cheated on him because he worked too much. And it was around that time when he met my mother, because he was working, he was pretty much he was running a business, and he was the only guy on the job at the time. And so his girlfriend, Karen, at the time cheated on him. He found out, he broke up with her, kicked her out of the apartment he had, and then he sold the apartment. he stopped paying rent. He was just like, I'm moving out. He moved back in with my grandparents at the time, and he practically slept in the truck that he was using for sandblasting because he just did not care anymore. So when he met my mother, like he had met her once before with her friend Kelly, who just passed. I just found out my mother's friend Kelly had just passed away not too long ago. I think it was like Wednesday, but he had met her and her friend Kelly because his best friend, who I think worked with him off and on the sites, was dating Kelly. And he's like, oh man, you really need to meet this chick. Like, she's really fine. Like, she's perfect for you. You got to do it. He's like, no, I'm fine. And so a couple weeks later, he finally got sick and tired of being hounded by it. And he's like, fine, I'll fucking go out on this blind date with this chick. And as soon as it was like love at first sight, but I told him, no, it's probably just lust. I was like, let's just be real about this. It was fucking lust at first sight. Because my father talked about how hot my mother was at the time. And she was 18 and he was 25. And so he called up his friend. He was like, hey, I'm getting off of work. What kind of booze should I bring? And where am I meeting you guys? And so he told her what Kelly and my mother like to drink, and he bought it, and he met them down in the south end of the city. And after that was it. They started dating. Fast forward when I was born, and she had completely changed. Like, from what my father said, she was exactly the kind of person he was looking for. She was herself. She didn't even wear makeup on the date. And they talked well into the early morning. That was it. Getting to know each other. And just the way she was and how she acted and all of that just enticed him. He liked the fact that she wasn't trying to be somebody that she wasn't. She wasn't trying to impress him. She was just being herself. And so after she had me, things just went sour. She was just this unbearable fucking party girl. And he would consistently keep telling her, why aren't you the same person? Why can't you be, and why aren't you the same person I met when we first started dating? Like, what happened? And so she kicked him out of the house after she had me because he was fishing, and he was the only one bringing in any kind of money. She didn't work. She bitched consistently. She lied a lot. She was taking money, and she was essentially using me as a scapegoat when I was a baby. She would tell my great-grandparents, like, oh, I need $200. $200 they couldn't give because, oh, hey, like, we need groceries, and George isn't buying groceries. And my father would come back home after fishing, and he'd be like, where is she? She's not here. Where's my son? And so he'd call up my great-grandparents, and they'd be like, oh, well, she asked for $250. And he's like, I put food in the house, and I gave her $1,000 before I left. I've only been out for a week. And that's how she was. And she did. And when they had my brother, it just got worse. And so she finally kicked him out. Fully. Like, she was not fit to be a mother. My father would wake up every morning. Like, when they first had me, my father was working at the fish house, offloading boats and that sort of shit. He would have to be at work for 2 a.m. So he would have to wake up at midnight. He didn't have a car at the time because he had sold it because it had broken down. So he just junked it. He knew somebody that worked as a cabbie, and she would come and pick him up around 1:30. Like 1:30, 1:15 in the morning. And so he would wake up, and he would have to heat my bottle of formula. He'd have to wake me up, change me, put me in new clothes, feed me, and he'd put me down in bed next to my mother, and he'd kiss me goodbye. He'd kiss her goodbye, and he'd go to work. And he had to do all of that and rush, and then she would bitch at him because he didn't make her a cup of tea. Because I wasn't going to stay awake for long, and she didn't want me in the same bed as her. And so my father would sometimes have to just hold me while I'm crying because I'm hungry. Give me a second. And so I'd have to deal with that shit. And so, like, it's just that like she did not take care of us. My father would always come in. Uh, like my father would come in and he would feed us. He'd give us whenever we needed clothes. He'd get us clothes, groceries for the house. He'd get groceries, bills. He'd pay the bills. Everything that he needed to do for us, he would do. Everything. And she was just a cunt to him. And when I was 5 and my brother was 3, she finally just abandoned us at the front doorstep. Didn't even tell my father. Didn't tell my father. And so that was it. And she was collecting child support still. We were just talking about it because one of Kelly's daughters posted a picture of me, my mother, and her mother in Daytona in like 1996, 1996 or 97, just chilling in a hotel room. I was like, wow, like, looked like she was having fucking fun in Daytona while, like, you were taking care of us. And he was like, yeah, I remember specifically your great-grandfather calling me, asking me how you two were, because your mother had called him and asked for $300 for groceries. And I told him that I had just sent her $300 for groceries because she needed it. And when I asked her why you need $300 for groceries since you don't have the boys, she said, oh, well, I need food because I'm down here in Daytona for bike week. And so my father thought, oh, I know exactly where that $300 is going. It's going towards booze and partying. Either that or to get a bus ticket or plane ticket home. And so, like, not 4 or 5 days later, she's asking for another $300 from her great-grandfather, or grandfather. And he did not have that money. He only collected Social Security. So my father sent her $300 more and paid my great-grandfather the $300 back that she had taken from him. Because my father just cared about my great-grandfather and great-grandmother before she passed away. And same situation going on with me. And my father was saying, like, that's exactly how your mother was with me. Exactly how she's acting with you. It's all about her, not about you and her. She'll do the sacrifices only if it benefits her. And I don't think my father's understanding my fucking texts. But Yeah, just pretty much I'm following in the steps of my father, and he just keeps telling me like, "Yep, I'm in this. I was a fucking idiot too when I was dating your mother, and I'm fucking madly in love with her, and I still love her to this day because she's the mother of my kids. But she was awful, especially while she treated me when you guys were young, and like blah 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 blah." Also, to answer the question I just got on Facebook, she was 20 and my father was 27 when she had me, because she was 20 years older than me, or still is technically. I mean, she's dead, but she's 20 years older than me, so she would be 47 this year because I'm turning 27. And I believe she was 22 or 23. No, she was 22 when she had my brother. I was just going on 23. No, she was going on 23 the year she had my brother. Like, she turned 23 like 2 months. She was born in September. He was born in June. So she was only like 2-3 months away from being 23. And I was like 6 months away from turning 3. My brother's like 2.5 years younger than me. And my father was fucking 29. Yeah, my father had just turned 29 because his birthday is June 1st. My brother's is June 5th. No. Both of them are born on June 5th. And the fucked up thing is, to the person I answered that question to, I was the accident. My father, like, everybody talks about like, oh yeah, my parents were like living with their parents and they hooked up and that's how they had me, or oh, they were living together and they had me and it was by accident. I was conceived on an old dirty bed in the basement of a farmhouse. My uncle Raymond and my aunt Helen's house. Like, it was an old shack of a farmhouse. And my father was staying there at the time because he had just given up his position as the owner of the sandblasting company because he couldn't deal with the stress anymore and the hours. And he didn't want to fuck up things like he had done with his ex Karen. So he wanted to focus more time on his social life as well as find some work. So he was working for my Uncle Raymond. So he was sleeping in the basement on an old dingy bed. And that's where I was conceived. On an old, musty fucking bed in the basement of an old rickety farmhouse. And yes, it is still standing. Somebody bought it after my Uncle Raymond died. They renovated the whole place, and it looks beautiful. It sticks out like a sore thumb amongst the rest of my family's buildings, though, because a lot of those houses are just old as fuck, and they have not renovated them. But the thing is, my brother was planned. That's the fucked up thing. So, like, it's just a hodgepodge of horrible fucking shit. Just a clusterfuck. And it's like, the fuck. And like, the funny thing is, my father to this day, he jokes about it. Like, he doesn't honestly believe it, but he jokes that like I'm my uncle's son. Not the miserly cocksucker who like fucked us out of our house. Father's actual brother, Andy. Andrew is my middle name, in case you ever know. Like, my father has consistently said I'm more like his brother than him, which I think is a good thing, because my father has no common sense. My father has no common sense. He's not book learned, and he's fairly street learned. I'll give him that. He knows, he's street smart. But when it comes to anything factual or book related, nope. He's a fucking blooming idiot. Also with the common sense. He has no common sense. My brother is exactly like him. I look exactly like my father, but I have I have all like my father. My father's genes must be far superior to my mother's side of the family's genes because I have nothing for my mother. No one in our family has green eyes or gray eyes because my eyes change colors depending on my mood. Like one eye color is different from the other. One's slightly grayer, like grayer than like how to better describe this. My right eye is a greenish color most of the time. My left eye is more of a grayish color. And they flip flop depending on my mood. Sometimes, if I'm really happy, my left eye is more greenish than gray. And my right eye is more a vibrant emerald green, for what people say. I think so. Like, but like I have nothing, no characteristics of my mother's side of the family. My brother, though, has all the characteristics, almost all the characteristics of my mother's side of the family. Dark brown eyes, really long, wavy, more straight hair. My whole father's side of the family has curly hair or thick, wavy hair, or shaggy. That's why Findicano means shaggy-haired commander. Because I have a shaggy fucking head of hair. You guys seen it? I've been on cam multiple times. My hair is fucking a goddamn mess all the time. But like, I just look exactly like my father, but I have no personality quirks like my mother or father. I don't. I'm more like my grandfather and my uncle, my father's brother. I'm more personality-wise related to them than my father or mother. My brother has a horrible combo of he has the worst aspects of both. He has the worst aspects of both of them. He's a liar, a manipulator, a deceiver. No willpower, no common sense to save his life. He's a troublemaker. Like, he actually called me to congratulate me on the news because I guess he had found out from my aunt or my father. And he's like, I'm so happy for you. It's been like 7 years in the making. I hope you and her are happy. It's like something right out of a fucking romance movie or romance novel. Like one of those John Green movies or books. Like The Notebook or some shit like that. Like, this is great. I'm so happy for you. I hope you're happy. And like a couple days after the call, this shit happens. I'm like, thanks, Nick, for fucking jinxing it. Thanks for jinxing it. Because he even had told me, don't you fuck this up, because I know you'll overthink things to death. You'll overthink things to death, and that'll be it. Let's check. Fucking. I'm going to bash the Notebook because and I watched it with her because she was like, "Oh, watch the Notebook with me. It's such a good movie." I was like, "Fine, I'll watch the fucking Notebook because you keep talking about it." And like, I don't know, like when people hype up a movie or a book or a fucking TV show or food, I deduct a massive amount of points if it's not up to snuff to what they do or what they say it is. Like my father kept telling me since my birthday this past December, we were supposed to go to this place called the Novo Mundo. It's a Portuguese restaurant, and it sounds really great, really great fucking food, supposedly. And We were supposed to go on my birthday. He decided to cancel plans and blow me off, and then said, "Oh well, I'll make it up to you. We'll go tomorrow," which was on a Monday. Fucking place is closed. And so for like the last 6 fucking months, he's been telling me, "Oh, we're gonna go to the Novo Mundo. We're gonna go out and eat. We're gonna do this. We're gonna keep going." Keeps hyping up how amazing this chicken is. The servings are insane for the price you pay for them. It's amazing how great this food is. I'm like, yep, whatever. Okay, yep, We finally get there. One, the waitress fucks up my order. I had ordered a half rotisserie chicken with Portuguese rice and French fries, because it has to come with French fries. I wanted the rice and a side of calamari with it, and they're like, "Well, you're gonna have to either have the Portuguese. You're gonna have to choose between the rice, salad, boiled potatoes, or the calamari. You can't have rice and calamari. All of them have to come with French fries." So I'm already pissed off because now I'm being dictated as to what I want to eat. So I'm like, fine, get me a side of fucking calamari too. And then the other thing I can't fucking stand when I go out to eat is I sat down and she's like, "What would you like to drink?" I'm like, "Can I have a glass of Coke, please?" "Pepsi, okay?" "I don't know. You want me to pay you with fake fucking money?" "No, it's not okay. Why do you think I asked, can I have a Coke?" So I said, fuck it. Yeah, you know what? Fine. I'm finally at this fucking restaurant my father keeps talking about, and he's sitting right there next to me. I'll fucking have a fucking Pepsi. And my father's like, "Don't worry, I'll make it up to you. We'll grab you a bottle of Coke or something to drink and wash down this fucking food after you're done eating." He ordered a 7 and 7, which was like $8. And they finally come. So I sit down. I'm waiting for I get my side order of calamari. It's a mix. It's a mix of the fluke, which is the best part of fucking calamari, and octopus tentacles, fried octopi. I'm like, "The fuck is this?" She goes, "Oh, it's fried calamari." I'm like, "Yeah. What's up with the octopi tentacles?" She's like, "Those are squid tentacles." I'm like, "Ma'am, I've been a fisherman for fucking like 5-6 years now. Since I was 16, 4. Like, that's octopus tentacle." She's like, "Oh, well, I'll have to ask." She comes back. She's like, "Yeah, that's octopi tentacles." I'm like, "You know what? Fine, whatever. I just won't touch this half of the fucking plate." So I'm eating the fluke. I'm eating my half order of fucking calamari, and it was at like a $10 order. So for $10, I get half the plate of a calamari. I like fried calamari. Anywhere else in the city, I'd get a whole fucking plate's worth. I wouldn't have octopi, fucking fried octopi. And so she finally comes back with our rotisserie chickens, because my father had the same thing with me. But the thing is, you can swap out this. Apparently, you can swap out the fucking French fries for a salad. I hate salad, so I was like, fuck that. He got salad and boiled potatoes and a half rotisserie chicken. She puts down the plate, both of them, salad and boiled potatoes. And she's like, "You guys enjoy your meal now," and starts walking off. And I'm like, I look at my father, I'm like, "Georgie." He goes, "Yeah," while he's half eating his fucking salad. I'm like, "You see something wrong with my fucking plate?" He goes, "Oh, well, when she comes by again, we'll tell her." I tried flagging her down 3 fucking times. I tried flagging her down 3 fucking times to come to the fucking table to tell her, "Listen, bitch, I want my fucking..." And here's the thing. Here's the thing. When you think a half rotisserie chicken, when you think rotisserie chicken, you're thinking one of those rotisserie chickens you get at a fucking, like, a supermarket. You're thinking a good size, because my father kept talking about how amazing these portions are. It's a little fucking young chicken, like the size of a fucking like a pheasant cut in half. He's like, "Oh, you can't wait. You got to order the half rotisserie chicken. There's so much meat on these things, Darth. There's so much fucking food. You're not going to be able to finish your food. That's how much food is on the plate when they serve it to you. It's fucking half. I got probably 3-4 forkfuls of fucking meat off the fucking thing, and it was for $8.50. $8.50. Then when she finally comes over, she's like, "Oh, I thought you wanted salad and boiled potatoes." I was like, "No, you wrote me down for French fries and fucking rice." She's like, "All right, well, do you want me to bring it back so you can get like the half rotisserie and the rice and stuff, or do you want me to just bring the a side plate with them?" I was like, "Just bring a fucking side plate, please. Just bring me a fucking side plate, please." So she brings me the side plate. The rice is bland as shit. It's just seasoned with a little bit of olive oil and parsley. There's no, like, in Portuguese, most Portuguese and Spanish rice is seasoned, and it's a delicious type of seasoning. This was the blandest shit. It was blander than the French fries. It's blander than unsalted French fries, motherfucker. Jesus Christ! This, like, I just looked at my father while I'm eating my food, and he's like, "So, what do you think?" I'm like, "Currently, right now, this place has started with a 10. Started with a 10. It's now down to a 4 out of 10. He goes, "What? Why?" I was like, "Terrible service. You hyped this fucking place up far more than what it's worth. They fucked up my order. The food is shit. The fucking goddamn portions are awful compared to what you were saying. And just the price of the food that I have to pay, the $20 I'm gonna have to pay for my dinner, is not worth what I could get for $20. I was like, for $20, I could order like a bunch of fucking subs from D'Angelo's, and I'd be full the entire night. I would not have to fucking be like, oh, I'm a little peckish. I could go for something else. I could just veg out. I could eat 3-4 subs for $20 at D'Angelo's with the savings I get. I could go to a KFC for $20 and get 3 or 4 times more food than this fucking place. That's why I get a 4 out of 10. He's like, well, that's fucked up. Like, and he just looks at me and he's like, well, I'm sorry, it's not like, if the waitress, then he's saying, well, if the waitress that knows me, because he's been there multiple times with Donald, he's like, well, if the waitress here knew me, like, this place would probably be a 6 out of 10 for you. Grab the food, there's no fuck ups or anything. I was like, not her too. It's all Steph is given the order exactly it's supposed to be. Like, Jesus Christ, this shit is it's simple. Rice and French fries. It's the base thing you get with this fucking half rotisserie chicken. 5 stars out of 10 or 5 out of 5 stars 10, because if it's 5 out of 5, it's a crock of shit. It is like shit. Total bullshit on that one. I would call total bullshit. And it's like, that's a fucking lie. That is an absolute lie. This place sucked. And before anybody watching this goes, well, Darth, how the fuck do you know? Motherfucker, I've gone to probably 70% of the restaurants in this city in like the last 3-4 years I've been living here. I like to discover new foods. I like to discover where the best best restaurants are, so I can take friends out and I can just enjoy myself with a nice meal. There are some ghetto ass fucking shacks, taco stands that have better food than this fucking place. And I wouldn't even eat at those taco places after I fucking ate it. Would not go again. But if you were like, hey, do you want to go to the Novo Mundo or this place or this taco stand? I'd be like, taco stand. That's how bad that fucking place was for an experience. Like, it was bad. It was real bad. Oh my god. That's just getting shittier, and like the week has just been shitty. I've been like I'd call bullshit on a few people. I'd call bullshit on a few people telling me like my week has been shitty, and those are mainly people that I've met and like been talking to in person. She's one of them. She's been a really stressful week. How? You sit as a lifeguard, minding your own business, really do anything. Like you're not doing anything. Like you're not doing anything. And then you go to your security job. Yeah, you have to be on patrol every so often, but you're not chasing down a robber or anything like that. Like you're just walking around a fucking parking lot with a flashlight. Oh, there we go. And then you just sit behind computer security console feeds. That's it. That's that's all. That's all you do. How are you tired? How are you tired? How are you dealing with such a stressful week? You're working a 40-hour work week. Like this last week alone, I worked 45 hours, and that's not normal for me. I'm usually working 50 to fucking 55, 60 hours. And I'm doing like that is one of the biggest gripes I have with a lot of people that talk to me. They're like, oh well, your work's not as bad as mine. Your work's not as bad as mine. Bitch, I'm cutting down fucking trees with a fucking pruning chainsaw because somebody saw us from the shop. Like, and then I have to haul it out by chain and drag it out the tree line, like 100 yards. It's grueling fucking work. Sitting under a fucking and using a welder to fucking heat the fucking bolts so you can fucking easily turn them. And then dealing with all this shit. Like I got fucking 2 burns on my wrist from fucking superheated grease and oil while we were trying to change the front wheel and do the front line adjustment for the 1-ton. We still need to. We had to put kingpins in it. That's gruesome, tiring work. I've talked about how I've had to fucking break up asphalt, fucking break up stone and haul that. Fucking, I've had to spread wet loom. It had the same consistency as wet concrete. Like work, back-breaking work. Absolutely tiring fucking work. We'll just sit there and go, I'm so tired from my office job, sitting behind a computer desk, just typing. It's just so tiring. And it's like, I'm working this job, and I'm still able right now to do my podcast. Just enjoying myself. Fucking Wednesday, do it. because I've just been not mentally all there. Just didn't want to fucking sit down a little bit. Doesn't mean like, oh, look at me, I have no time because I'm so tired from work. It's just I don't want to do it. I want to spend some time playing a video game. Or I want to spend some time hanging out with my friends or writing shit. Play a couple video games. Like I have every right. I have every right to do that. And everybody that I talk to that follows the stream, totally okay with it. They're totally okay with me fucking doing that. Exactly. I just want time to relax. These people, and I'm talking about her especially because this is the kind of inconsistency I'm getting. She's tired all the time. But oh, I'm so tired after this day of work, and oh, it was just 8 hours of me sitting behind a console doing that. Like, I can understand fatigue, mental fatigue. I can understand that. She's talking full exhaustion. Her body and mind are just exhausted from this work. Fucker who for like the last 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, how many fucking years I've been online. When I'm home from fishing, when I'm home from work, first thing I do, take a shower, get clean, sit down, and I'm behind this computer screen for the entire fucking 5, 6 hours I'm home after work. I'm not mentally exhausted after I do that. You don't see me going, oh, my God, just sitting here behind this computer screen playing Fable the Lost Chapters and hearing the same town themes play over and over again has just physically and mentally exhausted me to the point where I just don't want to do anything. No. I've had fatigue when I've been doing it for weeks on end. And I start getting fucking stir crazy, and it's like I want to work, I want to do something, I want to take my mind off the shit that's going on online, be able to do some more stuff. That's understandable, but to be like I'm so exhausted, it's like no, just no. That's all I can say is no. No, fucking no. Yeah. So yeah, it's just an annoyance I have with people like that. Just an annoyance. I guess I'm too much of a fucking adult. Like, home from work, I think it was Tuesday, and I had asked her last week if she wanted to go out on a date night, and she said yeah. And Tuesday she was too tired. But here's the thing. I got off of work at Tuesday was the day that I got let off early because of rain. No. Yeah, because of rain. Because of rain. Like, so what did I do, you ask? Well, I went home, showered, ate something for lunch, and I went to interviews for apartments for like 3 hours. So like around 5 o'clock, I came home. I worked out for like an hour and a half. Texted her, said, "Hey." She's like, "Yeah, I'm almost done with work." I'm like, "Okay." So I was like, "What time are you getting off of work?" She's like, "Oh, around 9:30. It's an early night tonight." I'm like, "Okay." I shower, I shaved, got dressed up, texted her. What do I get? Oh, I'm so tired. It's like, I just spent 6 hours at work, busting my balls, doing all kinds of shit. Then I came home, and I fucking went from apartment to apartment that I had calls from, and I was checking out apartments. I was doing adult shit all day. I was doing errands all day, running back and forth. And then when I came home, my way of relaxing was to work out for an hour and a half, 2 hours. Because you and I both had made plans for the fucking night. I showered and got ready for you. Because, you know, I'm that kind of person to where I'm like, I'm not going to be a sweaty, fucking, filthy, fucking bum. I'm going to shower and clean myself up like I always do. The fuck? Ever living fuck woman not be this difficult? Because she does it all the time. Apparently. It's like I'm able to hold down a job and a personal life. I'm able to juggle it. I am. I'm honestly able to do that. I'm free for the nights. Most of the time, that's when people hang out at night, especially during the summer. Especially during the summer, because that's when it's nice and cool and manageable and you're not sweating to death. Everybody works around that time. And even if somebody's working a third shift like she does, she works from fucking 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. I can still hang out with her. I go into work around 3, 4 o'clock. I can change my schedule, my sleep patterns. I could go right to sleep as soon as I get home, wake up for around 11 o'clock at night, like when she gets out of work, or 12 p.m., like 12 a.m. when she wants to hang out. I could wake up half an hour before that, take a shower, get dressed, get everything ready for my work, or just with her till like 3, 4 in the morning when it's time for her to crash. Go home, take a power nap for like a half hour, and then fucking grab all my shit for lunch, and I'll be fully dressed for work. And I just leave, get to the shop for fucking 5 o'clock in the morning. It's not that fucking difficult to do. It's not. I don't understand. It's so mind-boggling. And it's not like I've had one friend go, "Oh, you're pussy whipped." No, no, not pussy whipped. It's just I want to hang out with this person. I do everything in my power to try and hang out with said person. Like, what did like if you care about this person so much, if you care about this person, you're willing to try and make plans with this person. Just common sense. Just common sense. Yeah. Apparently not. Apparently not. God. Uh, huh. Okay. I thought my stream had died. God, I don't know why, but my headphones fucking make the top of my head hurt. And they're fucking padded too. That's the weird thing. It's like a nice fucking cushioned padding. It's like a pillow. Just it resting on my head just annoys the top of the head, top of my head. Don't know why. 'Tis weird, I say. Drop. Somebody on my Facebook posted an article apparently about how much an hour you need to make to afford rent. This map shows how much you have to earn to afford rent in every state. Average in an American household needs to earn at least $21.21 an hour to afford a modest two-bedroom apartment without spending more than 30% of their income on rent. Low Income Housing Coalition. On the low end of the scale, for example, you'd have to make almost $31 an hour in California to afford a two-bedroom rental, according to the map and study from the NLIHC that looked at rental rates in 2016. On the low end of the scale, you'd need to make $14.49 in West Virginia to afford a two-bedroom apartment. In Massachusetts, you need to make $27.39. New Hampshire is 2171. Vermont is 2190. 2472 in Connecticut. 1805 in Maine. 1949 in Rhode Island. 2808 in New York. Kentucky is 1395. 3520 in Hawaii. That seems to be the most expensive fucking place. Is there anywhere lower than Kentucky? Is the lowest at 1372. 1372 an hour to live there. $15 flat for Ohio. And it looks like that's the only place that's exactly 15 an hour. Montana is 1490. Idaho 1465. Most of the western state coastline is $20. It's 1978 in Oregon, 2384 in Washington State, 3092 in Cali, 16. 2416 in Alaska, and then 3520 in Hawaii. That's a lot of fucking money. Yeah. Yes, an hour to 1 hour's worth of work or pay for an apartment without having to spend 1/3 of your income. You would have to, for a 2-bedroom home or apartment, for a 2-bedroom housing wage, you would have to work. You would have to be paid $27.39 in Massachusetts an hour without paying more than 30% of your income. That's what the research and graph is for the National Low Income Housing Coalition, to show just how expensive housing is now. The 2017 2-bedroom rental home housing wage represents the hourly wage that a householder must earn working 40 hours a week, 52 hours a year, 52 weeks a year, in order to afford the fair market rent for a 2-bedroom rental home without paying more than 30% of their income. In Massachusetts, they would have to work a grand total of $27.39 per hour. That's how much they would have to be paid. And the federal government mandates a nationwide minimum wage of $7.25 per hour. To afford a 1-bedroom rental, when factoring in the 30% rule, a renter would need to earn at least $17.14 an hour. That means they'd need to work 94.5 hours per week to not pay 30% of their total income towards rent. In addition, the rental market is tight. 36% of U.S. households opted to rent in 2015, the largest share since the late 60s, according to the most recent report from the Joint Center of Housing Studies at Harvard University. The demand for low-cost rentals far exceeds the supply that's available. Harvard cites a study from the National Low Income Housing Coalition that showed there were only 31 affordable rental units available for every 100 extremely low-income renters. What you need to earn on a state-by-state basis. Here's the hourly wage a household must earn in order to afford the, quote, fair market rent for a 2-bedroom rental unit without having to hand over more than 30% of their income. These numbers assume you work 40 hours a week, 52 weeks a year. You can also check out this map, which shows how many hours per week minimum wage workers need to log in to afford rent in a 1-bedroom apartment. Some shockers, you would have to work 124 hours per week in Hawaii, 106 in Maryland, 105 in New Jersey, and 101 in New York. In Connecticut, and they have little asterisks. This state's for Vermont, Maine. No, for Vermont. Yes, for Vermont, Maine, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, and New York. Wage. A 1-bedroom rental at fair market rent, working a standard 40-hour work week without paying more than 30% of our income, I would have to work 80 hours a week. STEM, you would have to work 78. 67 hours in Rhode Island, 64 in Maine, 69 Vermont, 94 New Hampshire, 101 hours in New York. That is fucking depressing. Yep, exactly. You would have to work 2 jobs. That would mean you would have to work second shift at a job and then find a way where your third shift, your graveyard shift job, would have to be you'd have to have a grace period to drive all the way to work or get dressed in your new uniform. You would have to bring your other uniform with you, and you would not be able to shower. It wouldn't be feasible unless you had the grace period that some jobs have, where it's like, oh, like I get off of work at like 5 o'clock at night at this job, and I have to be in for like 7. So that gives you enough time to have supper, get dressed, shower, and all that, and then drive to work and be there on time. You would have to work 2 jobs full time each. Like, That's exhausting. That is fucking backbreaking. I'd have to work 40 hours. I'd have to work 80 hours a week. 80 hours a week. That is absolutely insane. There is no need. And I consider myself a workaholic because I'm working quite a few hours because I'm saving up for the apartment. Like I went and talked to a few people I've talked to, and it's just tiring. Because sometimes I'm getting out of work at like 5, 6 o'clock at night. I'm working till 5, 6 o'clock at night, getting home for 6:30, 7 o'clock at night sometimes. I'm exhausted. A lot of the places I have to fucking check up on, like they're not available to meet me around that time. They're only available for like one place was only available for calling from 11 a.m. I think like 4 p.m. Like it's backbreaking. And yeah, I only get a day off. I don't work Sundays sometimes. So I'm just on my own, just busting my balls trying to get work. Let's see. Apparently, Alaska's state minimum wage is $9.80 an hour. Hourly wage needed for a 2-bedroom apartment is $24.16. Arizona is $10 an hour. Arkansas is $8.50 an hour. 10 or $10.50 depending on the size of the company, but you need to pay $30.92. And if you were in California, you would have to work 92 hours a week. That is insane. And here's the even more insane thing. Virginia, you'd have to work for a 1-bedroom apartment. You would have to work 109 hours. 109 hours per week. 116 in Hawaii. Most of the map I'm seeing is some of them are manageable, like West Virginia, Ohio, Michigan, Nebraska, South Dakota, Montana, Arizona, Arkansas. Those are all the states. They're in the 50-hour range. Montana and Ohio and Michigan are the highest at 57 for Michigan and Ohio, 58 for Montana, 56 Arizona, 55 for West Virginia, and then it's 53 Nebraska, and then 51 hours per week for Arkansas and South Dakota. Because you can ask for overtime, or you can fill for somebody in, like a day, like your day off. You can just work an actual 7 days a week. That's manageable. You can ask for overtime sometimes, and they'll give you overtime. Everything else, though, is mid-60s to low 80s. And then, like I said, New Hampshire's 94, 101 for New York, 109 for Virginia, 106 for New Jersey, 101 Maryland. Those are the only triple-digit ones. Everything else is between the mid-70s to low 90s. And then like 5 or 6 states. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 states out of the 50. A tenth of the nation is fucking in the triple digits for hourly per week. It is insane. Apparently, the state minimum wage for Connecticut is $10.10. $12.50 for the District of Columbia. Jesus, the state minimum wage for Georgia is $5.15. $5 for Hawaii. Oh my God. That's backbreaking fucking work right there. There was actually a picture Owl Turd made that I shared on Facebook. It's how people the differences between baby boomers and millennials, how they do vacation. And the baby boomers like, I just took a 3-week vacation to Hawaii. I'm just living the dream. And it says millennial, and it's like, I only worked a 40-hour work week this week. And they're completely exhausted looking. Yeah. I actually enjoy sometimes days where I get off of work early because I can just fucking go home and relax and rest. Because I can't deal with like all the fucking work I'm being put up with. Like there's days where like my hands just lock up off and I just like it's like pins and needles. It's like your hand just woke up. Sleeping. It just woke up and it feels like sand in the joints. Like that's how it feels. Like that's how it feels. And so like for like after I wake up from like my 2-3 hours sleep sesh, slow like I just have to wait for my hands to finally catch up. Just like nope. Don't want to deal with this. Do not want to deal with this. Absolutely fucking tired. My joints feel like that too. Like that's another fucking thing that I get pissed off about is like it's only been my arms. Like my wrists, knuckles, finger joints, elbows, shoulders. I've tried that, Sten. Like there's been times where I've just passed out playing a video game. I've passed out in the middle of like today I slept. I forcefully slept all day and I still feel tired and my joints just even now they like my arms feel like they're 100 pounds heavier. And it's just because of all the work and strain. I even fucked up my right arm yesterday trying to pull some limbs. They weren't even trees; they were just fucking thick ass branches. But I grabbed a limb, and while I was yanking it, it felt like the right above, like the base of your bicep, near the joint where your elbow bend it, like right at the base. It felt like someone took a fucking shock pen and shocked me right there. And like whenever I tried to move or bend my arm, and like my bicep would move, I get this sharp jolt. Irv was being electrocuted. And Kent was there when I was offloading. He's like, "You all right?" I'm like, "No, I think I fucked up my arm." And he's like, "You want to take a break?" And it's like, "No, because we got to get all this shit done today. Donald's orders." So I just used my left hand and just one-handed fucking pulling like branches out, 100-pound branches here and there. And then when we got down to the fucking base of the fucking thing, I just one arm broadside and my foot on the back of the bed of the truck, and I just pushed the rest of like the limbs, like 50, 60 of the limbs that were all bunched up and tangled up with vines, and I just pushed it all with one hand. So, like, go big or go home. That's my motto when I work. Like, oh, it's not. It's. I'd say it's as shitty as fishing. I would know. Give me a second. I gotta get something to drink because it's hot as fucking here. Ah, the fucking head. It feels like I have a fucking headache. Could be. It could be heat related because, good God, is it fucking stuffy in here. Give me a second. I got painkillers. I'll take them. Fuck it. Fuck it. Take me away, painkillers. Take me away. Also, is Coca-Cola run out of names for their share a Coke with ice cold Coke with? I have never heard of or Ruffalo or Ruffalo. Never heard anybody. Let's see. It's one pill down. They probably did. Guess what I saw, Stem, and I should have took a picture of it when I was drinking it. Guess the name. Guess the name. because I had a perfect caption to go with it. And I understand like this name is a famous actor's name too. When I saw it, I was like, I didn't think of the famous actor. I thought of this character, Alec. I saw Alec, and I was like, what? No Ark and Elk? What? You're gonna have a fucking share an ice cold drink with the shittiest of the three protagonists with the Ark the Lad trilogy? I was like, still no Ark and Elk. I see. I'm like, of all the names, Alec. That is. Here's the fucked up thing. I have yet to find my name. I found every person's name that works the shop. Ricky, I've seen Ricky, Chris, George, Scotty, Josh, Joshua, like all different kinds of pronunciations. Found all different the variations. Share an ice cold drink with Josh. Share an ice cold drink with Joshua. Share an ice cold drink with Scott. Share an ice cold drink with Don. Share an ice cold drink with Donald. Joe, Joseph, fucking Kent. My name's not on there. That's a goddamn shame. Hell, I found your name. I found Frank. I found Dan, Daniel, Daniela, Danielle. I found Shadow's name, Byron's name. Also, speaking of Byron, Byron is scaring me because he looks like he is sick. No, your name is on a Coke bottle, Sten. I've seen Sten. Chen, Chan, Ruffalo, Maribel, Gertrude on a fucking Coke bottle. But it's like, who the fuck names their kid Gertrude? It's not the fucking 40s or 30s anymore. But yeah, he really is. He looks. I hate saying it, but he looks. He looks like a cancer patient. Like, I don't like joking about that, but like when I look at Byron and how much weight he's lost, he looks sickly. He has lost a lot of fucking weight, and it's just like, wow, what the fuck is going on, Byron? He's engaged. He's getting married, but like the picture of him, just I don't know. It just looks. It looks bad. It just looks bad. And I'm like, oh God. I hope I don't get a fucking message or something later on being like, no, what happened to Byron did this. I'm like, oh no. Oh God, no, I don't want to hear that news. Oh boy, I got some good news on Facebook. I may have caught wow. So there was this chick. There's this chick on my real Facebook that's kind of flaky. So hitting her up, and this is before I started talking to you know who. Give me a second. Give me a second because this is getting juicy. So this chick, so this chick has been like fucking talking up all kinds of shit. Place, and she needs a man to come over to the house to fucking fix some plumbing and shit. So she asked people on her Facebook like, "Hey, help me out," blah blah blah. Like, is there any guy on here that's fucking electrician or something like that? And so I'm like, she's just a fucking catfisher. She's trying to get as much shit as she can. And so my friend Molly has very graciously informed me that she does not, in fact, like, because she apparently bought a house. And apparently her boyfriend is 39. This chick is like 23, 24, and he is a murderer and a registered sex offender. He has apparently threatened to kill her multiple times. And I was hitting this chick up because I was like, oh, maybe, you know, I can get a hookup because she's fairly attractive. I mean, just a fuck, just to hook up with somebody. And she didn't answer me after like the second time we talked, so I was like, okay, this is kind of weird, catfish vibe, or just this attention seeker. So I just stopped. So I just stopped talking to her, and so I don't know. I just started. I guess the conversation kind of winded down, and she's like, "So who have you been talking to besides her?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm talking to this weird chick named after a fucking car because her name's Mercedes." She's like, "Oh my god, I know her." She's like, "Yeah," and she started fucking dropping the juicy gossip. Give me a second. I gotta post a good reaction pic to that one. Yeah, I had that same face too for a second, Stan, when I read it. Uh, not sure what else to talk about, really. I think that's a pretty good high note to end on. Apparently, I was talking to somebody whose boyfriend's a known murderer and sex offender, and she herself is fake. So there's that at least. So I'm probably gonna just try and nurse this headache. If I can, like my left temple is hurting that bad, pretty fucking badly right now, and I gotta smoke a cigarette. So I gotta go outside and smoke, cool off in a nice cool breeze or something, and catch up on all my, backlog of watch later videos. I'll talk to you guys later. Can do a show Monday. Depends on my mood. But if I do Monday, it'll be Dark Crystal for a horrible movie that day, Monday, and then we'll see how things go from there. Because part 50, I'm going to probably do a special like I did last time. So you guys have a nice night. I'll talk to you guys later. And also, Sten, I will see you. I'll actually message you on Skype when I get off of here because I actually have a big question I have to ask. Great weekend. And I'll talk to you later.